Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks so much for joining me this evening for our Supreme Self Development and Awareness sessions. I am Lydia, and I will be with you every Tuesday evening to explore the topic of anger management. What we'll be doing from this week and for the next 7 weeks is getting to understand that anger much better. And yes, I know it seems like anger can be a bit complicated, but don't you worry, we will work through it together. Now, you see, some of the things we're going to talk about will be feelings and behavior. And what's the connection between our feelings and our behaviors? Our triggers. What are those things that make me angry? What are those things that make you angry? We're also going to look at the signs of anger. How do I know I'm getting angry? What does my body do? What does it feel? What am I thinking when I get angry? But most importantly, you learn ways to manage anger better. And if you have any questions at all after each program, I want you to send those questions in because I have a segment at the end each week that I will take the time to answer your questions. So any questions that you may have on anger management, I want you to send them in. You can email them or send them to us via our Facebook, our YouTube, and our Instagram page. Now for our sessions, there are a few things that I would like you to bring with you each and every Tuesday. You need something to write with. So it could be a pencil or a pen. If you have crayons and markers, bring them along too. And you need something to write on, either paper or bring along your notepad. For those of you who have other devices and you want to use them as well, you can bring those too to help you do the activities that we have planned for each week. But please make sure if you have to seek permission to use your device that you get that permission first. So are you ready? Well, I sure am. So let's get started. To begin our exploration of anger and anger management, we will first take a look at emotions and feelings. Mhm. Emotions, feelings, yeah. Now, anger is an emotion. So to help us understand anger, I think it would be a good idea to first understand what emotions are. What are feelings? Why do we have these emotions? And are some emotions good and are others bad? Now, we'll find out all the answers to those questions as we go through this evening's session. So let's go quickly to our check-in. I have a question for you, and I'd love to hear and see the responses to this question. How are you feeling today? I want you to take a few minutes and think about it. How are you feeling? And this is how I want you to answer that question. Now, I want you to draw a face that describes how you are feeling at this time. So get your paper, get your pen, and I want you to draw that face. Make sure that face describes how you are feeling right this minute. Now, if you have your markers and you have your crayons, I want you to think about what color you think describes that feeling. I'm going to do this activity as well. Now, I'm going to draw how I am feeling. And I wonder if you can guess. I'm not a very good drawer, but I think you understand. I have my face, I have my eyes, and what do you see on my face? It's a smile because I am feeling so happy to be with you. Now, when I think of happiness, the color yellow comes to mind. So I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to color my face yellow. Now, if you don't have crayons or if you don't have markers, I just want you to write the name of the color next to your face. See, I have yellow written here. Now, I'd really love to see those faces. I really would. So, if you have permission and you want to take a photo of you and your face and send it in to us, I'd really love to see that. You can email it or if you can send it via our social media page, I'd love to see those drawings because I'm sure they must be lovely. Thank you so much for doing that activity with me. So like I said earlier, anger is an emotion. And so to understand anger, it's a good idea to learn more about emotions. So let's go to that question. What is an emotion? Now you see, an emotion is a mind and body response to a situation or something we call a stimulus. Yes. It also influences our behavior and our thoughts. I know that might sound like a lot to understand, so I'm going to give you an example. Now imagine I come home from work, I get out of my car, and I go put the key in the door, I turn the key to unlock the door, and I realize, my house is dark. I don't want to go in there. So I turn around to flip on the switch. As soon as I flip on the switch, I hear, surprise! And I see all of these faces. My eyes open wide, my mouth open wide, my heart starts to beat, and I jump back. I feel surprise. The way my body behaved, what I thought about, what's going on here? When I put all of those together, I experience the emotion or the feeling of surprise. And I hope that example helps you to understand a little bit more what emotions are. But let's keep going. Why exactly do we need emotions though? Why? Why do we need emotions? Now you see, emotions, they give us information about the situations that we are in. Yes, it gives us information. And I'm going to give you another example because I know examples helps us to understand information a lot better. Now you come home from school and you realize that your brother or your sister or your cousin maybe, they have your tablet or your favorite toy or something that is one of your prized possessions. You sit and you think to yourself, but I can't remember giving them any permission. And you begin to feel angry. So the information we got from that situation is that you do not like people taking your things without asking. So emotions do give us information about how we are going to feel in situations. Let's keep going. Emotions also helps us to understand ourselves and others better. It helps me to know what makes me happy. It helps me to know what makes my mom happy. It helps me to know what makes me sad. When others show me their emotion, it also helps me to know what makes them feel sad as well. Emotions also helps us to make decisions. So emotions motivate us. Here's another example. I get back my results on my test. But I realized that, you know what? I didn't pass. I thought I studied really hard. And I began to feel sad that I just did not pass the test. I'm disappointed in myself. I don't like to feel disappointed and I don't like to feel sad at all. I don't like to feel. what are the decisions I'm going to make? Instead of studying 2 days in the week, I'm going to study 5 days in the week. And I'm going to study harder and harder because I want to be proud of myself. I want to feel happy that I would have passed my exams. So emotions are very important. They give us information about situations. It helps us to understand ourselves and each other, and it helps us to make decisions. It motivates us to do much better. Now, there are lots of words. There are so many words that we can use to describe how we are feeling and our emotions. I wonder how many feeling words you can think of. I'm going to give you 6 seconds to write down as many feeling words or as many emotions that you can think of. I'm going to count down from 6. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And I'm sure you had a whole long list of emotions. Now, most of these feeling words, however, are a combination of 8 basic or 8 main emotions. I wonder if you can guess what those 8 main emotions are. If not, we'll find out together. And we're going to play a little game to help us understand or help us to know what these 8 main emotions are. So let's go with the first emotion. Our first emoji face. What's that face? The face is surprise. But why? Why do we need to feel surprised? What does surprise do for us? Well, you see, being surprised helps us to focus on new situations. Do you remember that example that I used earlier when I came home and everybody shouted surprise for me? Imagine if I could not feel the emotion of surprise. How do you think that situation would have been for me or for all of my friends who would have been there? I probably would have walked through the house like nothing at all. I would not have been able to realize how much my friends love me and care for me that they planned that wonderful surprise. So, surprise helps us to focus in on new emotions. Let's go to the next one. Our next emotion, this one. Sometimes this is a little bit hard to guess sometimes when you may look at the face. But this emotion is something called guilt or shame. And when we feel guilty or when we feel shame, it's supposed to lead us to change our behavior. When we recognize that something that I would have done may have hurt somebody else, or it may have hurt me because I didn't make the best choice, it can encourage me to do something different, to change my behavior. Let's keep going as we explore our other emotions. So far we had surprise, guilt, and shame. Let's continue. I wonder what the next emotion will be. Fear. That's another main emotion. Fear protects us from danger. I see a spider. Now, I think that spider is pretty dangerous. I think that spider is going to bite me. What am I going to do? I am going to pick up my feet and run from that spider because fear helps me to protect myself from danger. Let's go to our next emotion. Quick recap. Surprise, guilt and shame, fear, and then we will go to joy. We all love to feel happiness. And we probably love to feel happy more than some of the other emotions. Now, what's the purpose of feeling joy? Joy reminds us about what's important to us, what's important to me, what's important to you. Because sometimes many things happen in life that may make us feel sad, may make us feel fearful. But when we do those things that make us feel happy, it reminds us that, you know what, this is important to me. Or when we see that someone, or when our parent gives us a hug, or that person that we know love us, are here for us, it brings us that joy and it reminds us how important that person is. Let's keep going. I wonder what the other emotions are. After joy comes curious. The idea of being curious. Why do we have to experience the emotion of curiosity or interest? Now imagine if we were never interested in anything. Would we be able to learn new things? I don't think so. Being curious helps us to learn new things. Quick recap. What were the emotions? We had surprise. We had guilt, feeling guilt or shame. Then there was, what was the other one? Fear. Wonderful. And then our next emotion was that one that we love to feel so much. Joy or happiness. And we just learned about being curious. Let's keep going. What other emotions are there for us to find out? Sadness. Now, sadness helps us to recognize that, you know what, we may need a little help. We may need a little comfort. And lots of times when we feel sad, we reach out to other people. So it helps us to connect with others. Sometimes, if we didn't experience the emotion of sadness, we may not have those connections that bring us so much joy. We may not be able to see all of those persons who are there for us and who are willing to support us. So even feeling sad or sadness is also important for our lives. Let's keep going. We're coming down to the end of our 8 emotions. What's the next emotion that we're going to learn about? Anger or being angry. I know we have the idea or the question is being angry okay? Is it wrong for me to be angry? But anger also serves a purpose. It helps us to fight against problems. And when I say fight, I don't necessarily mean fist fights and cuffs, but it helps us to be able to solve problems. It makes us want to solve problems. It helps us to recognize that this situation is not comfortable for me. This situation is not something that I really want to be in. So anger also is important for us. Now we looked at those 8 basic emotions. Remember, there are lots and lots of words that we can use to describe our feelings. But most of these words are a combination of these 8 basic emotions. So I may feel a little bit of surprise and a little bit of joy, and it creates another feeling. You know, I may be a little bit curious, but a little bit fearful, and that creates another feeling word. So I hope that you will remember these 8 basic emotions. I also hope that you would have written them down on your paper or on your notebook. Can you imagine how boring though we would be, or how boring life would be if we could not express emotions? You know, if there was no joy at all, there was no surprise, there was no fear, no curiosity, you know, what would cause us to be better? What would make us bold? Or what would help us to understand each other better? Now, some emotions we really, really love to feel. And we wish sometimes we could only feel those feelings. And other feelings sometimes we don't really like how it makes us feel, makes our body feels. And we call those emotions either comfortable or uncomfortable emotions. We're going to learn a little bit more about comfortable or uncomfortable emotions. It's like me sitting in a chair. Now, if I have the option of two chairs, one with a nice fluffy cushion and another chair that looks like it has, probably little nails there, or it may just be a hard surface of metal. One chair may make me feel a lot more comfortable, while the other one, I wouldn't necessarily want to sit in it because it's not very comfortable. It's quite similar with emotions. Our comfortable emotions make us feel pleasant and good. We love to experience these emotions. Can you think of some emotions that are really comfortable for you? Some people love to feel joy, even curiosity. There are some people that just love surprises. Uncomfortable feelings, on the other hand, they make us feel a little unpleasant sometimes and not really good, and we don't really want to feel those feelings. Maybe sadness may not be comfortable for you, or even fear may not be comfortable. Guilt and shame, lots of the times, is not a comfortable feeling. But although it may not be comfortable, it is important that we still have these feelings because these feelings help us to grow, help us to learn, help us to change, and to be better. Do you remember the example that I used earlier when I talked about how I failed my exams and feeling sad motivated me to do much better and to study harder? I didn't experience a comfortable feeling, but you know what? It encouraged me to make a much better choice. So then I could experience a comfortable feeling. Now, outside of this session, when I'm finished, I'm going to think about those feelings that make you feel comfortable and those feelings that make you feel uncomfortable. And because there's so many feeling words that you can use, you can have fun and write a list as long as you want. Those comfortable and those uncomfortable. Now remember earlier, we said that emotions provide us with information about the situations that we are in. Did you remember? We then use this information to choose how we will respond, what behavior we will have, and what we will think. And that's why it's very important for us to know what situations make us feel which emotions. I'm going to repeat it. It's really important for us to know what situations cause us to feel which emotions. But why? Because when we know this, we can plan and we can choose the best response. Now, do you see why understanding emotions is important as we explore anger and anger management? Because if I understand how emotions work, then I know that if I know what situations make me feel angry, when I recognize that this situation seems like it's about to happen, I'm going to be able to say to myself, I think this is going to make me angry. Yep, I'm becoming angry. I'm feeling it in my body. And therefore, I can plan what's the best action or what's the best behavior for me to do in this situation. Yes, there are some times though that we experience new situations that we've never experienced before. But what do? We take that information from that new situation, store it, and we apply it just in case we need it for the next time. So, I just said it's important to understand what situations cause us to experience different feelings. I want you to take some time to think about that. Now, I want you to write this down on your paper. I'm going to give you the sentence. It says, I feel like when blank. In the first blank, we're going to put an emotion right there. After when, I want you to think about the situation that causes you to feel that emotion. We're going to probably use about 3 or 4 emotions. All right. So let's go with sadness. So let's start with sadness. Think a minute about sadness. What causes you to feel sad? What situations make you feel sad? And I want you to note down, I feel sad when, and I want you to write that situation. I'm going to tell you what makes me feel sad. I feel sad when I see others being hurt. That makes me feel very sad. When other people look sad, I also begin to feel sad. I hope you've noted that down. All right, let's try another emotion. How about joy and happiness? Think about what makes you feel happy. What makes you feel happy? I want you to write, I feel happy or I feel joy when, and I want you to write down that situation. If you're tuned in on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube and you want to note that in our comments, you can feel free to do that. I feel joy or I feel happy when, and I feel happy when I get the opportunity to go and sit at the beach and relax. It makes me feel relaxed and I begin to feel joy. Let's try one more. Let's use anger because we're focusing on anger. I feel angry when, and I want you to think about what makes you feel angry. I'm going to give you 3 seconds to think about, what are those things that make you feel angry? And then I'm going to share with you. Now, I feel really angry when people don't tell me sorry. If somebody hurt me and they don't tell me sorry, that makes me feel angry. And because I would have just taught you about our 8 main emotions, you can feel free to continue this activity with the additional emotions or any other emotions that you need to add. Why? Remember, to understand emotions and to understand ourselves, it is very important that we know what situations cause us to experience which emotions so that when we see those situations coming and we want to make sure we make the best choice, we can stop and we can think about it and we can make sure that our behavior and our actions is the best response to that situation. Now, as we bring our session to a close, I want to share with you some important keys about emotions. And these are things I don't want you to forget about emotions. Now, our first key tells us that everyone has emotions, everyone has feelings, and it is okay to have any feelings at all. So yes, you have emotions, you have feelings. Your mommy, your daddy, your friend, your neighbor, your uncle, everybody experiences feelings. And you know what? It is okay to have any feelings. I think that answers one of the questions we had at the beginning. Do you remember that question? The question was, is it okay to feel angry? And if there's something wrong with feeling angry? I think this answers our question. It is okay to feel angry. but it is what we do when we feel angry that makes the difference. I want you to remember that. It is okay to feel angry. Everybody feels angry, but it's what we do when we feel angry that makes the difference. Let's keep going. Now, we experience emotions because of different situations and thoughts. And we explored that earlier. Emotions give us information and it helps to guide our thoughts too as well. There are different ways of showing emotions. Yes, this is very important to remember as well. There are so many different ways of showing emotion. How I show my happiness, I may have a big, broad smile, may not be how somebody else shows happiness. Happiness for somebody else may be jumping up and down. That may be their way of showing happiness. I can also show emotions of happiness in different ways at different times. I may not always smile. If somebody does something for me, I may want to give them a really big hug. I know now we can't really hug each other, but before COVID, I probably would have given them a really big hug. So there are different ways that we can show emotions, and everybody shows their emotions in different ways. Now we can use emotions to also communicate how we feel and how others feel. We can communicate verbally or non-verbally. And when I say verbally, it means that I can say, you know what, I am so happy. Or I don't really understand what's going on here. They've got me real vexed though. And that's me verbally expressing me being angry. But when we think of nonverbal, it reminds me of that game called charades. Has anybody ever played charades before? Where you cannot speak and you have to show action so that your partner can guess what you are trying to tell them. So I can express my emotions just by my facial expression. I don't have to say words. Even my posture, the volume of my voice or the tone of my voice. I am sure sometimes, if our parents want us to do something that we should have done in a long time, we hear that they may not be pleased with us in the tone of their voice. Yes. So we can use emotions to communicate, whether it's verbally or non-verbally. What I also want you to remember, another key of emotion, is that other people may not feel the same way about everything like we do. So what may make me feel surprised may not cause somebody else to feel surprised. What I may be fearful of, and I told you I'm fearful of spiders, other people may go, nah, I'm not scared of spiders. Something else makes them feel afraid. Yeah. What makes me feel sad or angry may not make somebody else feel angry. And that's okay. Because we are different, we will experience situations and emotions in a different way. And I think that's what makes the world so beautiful because we are so different. And our final key is you can do things to change how you feel and how others feel. And I think this is really good news. Imagine if we could not change how we felt. Imagine if I was sad and I had to stay sad for a long days and weeks and months, or fearful for days and weeks and months. So it is good news that we can change how we feel by sometimes the things that we do. And we can also help others to change how they feel by the things that we do. Now, if I am feeling sad, one thing that you can do for me is that you can come and give me some chocolate cupcakes, or chocolate cake. And I can tell you definitely that will bring me joy. And that will cause me to change how I feel. So I don't want you to forget these keys at all. So let's recap them quickly. What are these keys again? Let's go. The first key, and I really wanted to do this with you through a quiz, so I hope that you'll be able to guess the answers. The answers probably will be there for you, but we will keep going. Remember, everyone has emotions and feelings, and it is okay to have any emotion or any feeling, which means that it is okay to feel angry or anger. But remember, it is what we do when we have that feeling that makes the difference. Remember that there are different ways of showing emotions, and that's what makes the world so beautiful. My way of showing emotions will not be the same way for you. And I may also have several ways of showing you that I'm angry or that I'm sad or that I'm fearful. And that too is okay. We can communicate our emotions either verbally or non-verbally. And I think that that's good news too. Because sometimes we may not always have the words, but when others may look at us, our face, and our posture sometimes, it can help them to know, you know what, this person may need a little help. They may not be feeling the best. Remember, other people may not feel the same way about everything as you do. And that too is okay. And we can do things to change how we feel and how others feel. So if you're feeling sad, think about those things that you know that will bring you joy. And I'm sure that if you do them, if you try them, that you recognize that you can change your emotions and your feelings. So today we will have looked at emotions. And why did we look at emotions? We looked at emotions because we know that anger is an emotion. And for us to be able to understand anger better, it is important that we understand how emotions work. So when we begin to explore anger, it gives us a really good foundation to learn the new skills and the new ideas of how to manage the anger. So I am so happy that I had the opportunity to sit with you this evening and begin our first session to explore anger and anger management. And I hope that you will join me for the next few weeks, every Tuesday at 3 p.m. as we continue to learn key ideas about anger and anger management. Each week, we're going to add a little bit and a little bit more. And by the end, I hope that you would learn useful skills and you will have a much better understanding of this emotion of anger. Remember, I want you to send any questions that you may have. I really want to hear from you. And if you want to share what you would have done in any of the activities that we did today, you can feel free to send them in to us through our email or through any of our social media pages, our YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, because I would love to see what you would have done. Send your questions, and next week, if there are any questions, I'll devote some time to answering those questions for you. But before you go, I have one little task for you to do during this week. Now, I need you to write 2 goals, 2 things that you would like to achieve by the end of these anger management sessions. I'll give you an example of one of them. One might say, I would like to learn new ways of controlling my anger. That's a goal. Or I would like to be able to respond when others become angry. That's another goal that you can make. So you have a week. You can take some time, think about what you would like to learn from these anger management sessions. I really hope that you enjoyed the session this afternoon and that you would have learned a little bit more about emotions. This is going to be an interesting journey as we look at anger and anger management. Next week, we'll focus in a little bit more on emotions and more specifically that of anger. Now remember to tune in tomorrow as we join another Supreme Facilitator as they will be exploring the topic of conflict resolution. Don't forget, join us tomorrow at 3 p.m. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and bye.